Hey YouTube, what's up? Welcome back. Okay, in this video I want to explore the topic, or the following topic rather, which is being too dark skinned versus the acceptable dark skin. And I'll explain where this came from and where I'm going with this, okay? Um, but this had came up about maybe a day or two ago. Um, and someone brought up, hey, do you think, what do you think about this? Do you think that there's like kind of like being dark skinned, kind of like levels to being dark skinned, and how maybe some people's dark skin, their shade of dark skin, is more acceptable than other people's shade of dark skin? And I'll say, in my personal opinion, I do kind of see that somewhat play out. You know, it's a little subtle. It's not very, it's not extremely blatant and in your face, but it does play out, right? Like, let's say Alec Weck, right? The Sudanese supermodel. Some people, particularly some black people, even, I think she was like featured on the like magazine, some black magazine. I forgot which one. And people kind of protested. This is a black magazine, and black people are protesting this because they feel like she shouldn't be on the cover because she doesn't. I guess they don't feel that she represents, black beauty, right? Mhm. And I feel as though her skin tone has something to do with that, right? Oddly enough, I think it's her skin tone that gave her sort of like her way into the fashion industry, though. Again, just because of that sort of like that purity look, right? That very pure, native African, you know, look that her skin has, you know, which works very well for other, um, black models who are from the motherland, right? From Africa. Um, so yeah, I see it in that. Also, it kind of affects males too, like darker skinned males as well. You know, Wesley Snipes, for instance, I think that his like oftentimes people kind of like make jokes about his skin tone, like him being like really dark skinned, and that sort of has been like a reoccurring or running joke in the black community, for a while. I think it's sort of died down because Wesley Snipes' career has died down. Um, but yeah, um, but why is that? Why do we? Well, I didn't make the jokes, but of course, but why do we make jokes as the community though? Like he's black, like is that really something that's an oddity? Like he's just a little darker than some other black people, right? It doesn't, it shouldn't be something that's extremely abnormal or out of the ordinary or, you know, something that is seen as other, you know. Also, um, I think when it comes to the men and the women, I think the jokes seem to be more so directed at the men versus the women, like the dark skin jokes. Because I think like the women, I don't think they would be very accepting of the dark skin jokes. I think a lot of women would be offended by those jokes, but I think the men could take those jokes a little better. Not that, they probably haven't felt a little, hit to the side like, oh, like, you know, also like Flavor Flav during that whole comedy roast that he had. Like a lot of people were making, jokes about his skin tone because his skin tone is like really dark. A lot of people were making jokes about that. And while we can say that, jokes are, ha ha, meant to laugh, you know, But you know what they say, there's always at least a little truth in jest, you know, right? And I'm sure Flavor Flav, probably, have heard those jokes before. They probably weren't anything new to him, unfortunately, right? You know. While on the other hand, there are people who are dark skinned, but it's like acceptable, or more acceptable. Like Kelly Rowland was mentioned, right? Kelly Rowland seemingly is like the acceptable dark skinned chick. You know, when we want a beautiful dark skinned chick, a dark skinned woman, hey, call Kelly Rowland, right? And I personally think that Kelly does look good. I personally kind of like the shorter hairstyles on her a little better. I think they sort of gave her a nice look, or a nicer look, I'll say. Um, I think she wore those short hairstyles really well. And there was one thing that happened where, like, Beyonce wound up cutting her hair short, and then people started comparing her to Kelly with her hair short. And for once, for one time in history, Beyonce got the short end of the comparison. They were like, Kelly looks way better with short hair than you do. you know, Kelly Rowland, circa, old school Destiny's Child. Kind of like the first three albums, right? Good look, good look. Um, or Well, her look that she has is good too, though. Um, but I would say that's like, to me, that's like her signature look, though, right? That's like the look that really she should, you know, go back to. But I can understand her, wanting to experiment with different looks, since when she was in Destiny's Child, she wasn't able to do that. She had to keep her hair short. And when it comes to the men, I kind of feel like the acceptable dark skinned man, currently at least, at the moment, I would say maybe Idris Elba. I think that's how you say his name. Idris Elba, right? And Idris Elba, I believe, is Native African too. Um, but I think that he is sort of like a bit, the way that he looks. Um, I think that his skin tone is, I think, you know, the more acceptable, PC dark skin, right? Kind of like him and Kelly Rowland are good examples of that. Like, kind of like the PC acceptable dark skin, that um, the mainstream media would, promote. You know? Um, but, there's some darker skinned folks who probably should have more of a career, perhaps. I'll say like a couple examples. I say like Terry Crews and um, the native African actor um, Demon Hansoon. I think that's how you say his name. He was the guy that was married to Kimora Lee Simmons and had a child with her. They have a son together. I kind of think that those two guys, probably should have better careers than they have. Not that they don't have good careers, but the parts that they get, I think they probably should get better parts. But for some reason, I don't think they want to cast them in like parts that I personally think they should be play a part in. Like, I kind of think that they should have a bit more like kind of like regal, um, heroic, uh, like stronger roles, showing them a bit more in like a powerful position, right? You know? And for the women, I think that, like Kelly Rowland and Lupita should have. I think Kelly Rowland's music career should be more than what it is. I think that Lupita's acting career, I feel like it's like low key on its way. Like I feel like it's sort of like slowly gaining steam, but I can also see that steam sort of wearing out. You know what I'm saying? Like it could go either way. She could just keep on going, or it could wear out. Like the way that it looks now, you know. Another thing that I just thought of, you know, some black parents, I don't particularly know any black parents who say this, fortunately, but some black parents do refer to like, you know, like their kids who are darker skinned as like, you know, kind of like get your black ass over here, or you know, like they make those type of references to their skin tone sometimes, like you know, when they get mad at them, it's like, you know, what's an example? Like, you know, you better sit your black ass down. You know, something like that. Maybe I have heard of that. You know, I have heard of that. I had a coworker who said that his mom said something to him like, who, like, she says that sort of a thing. You know, y'all know it's always the mama. The dads ain't never guilty. Black daddies ain't never guilty of nothing. Y'all ain't know black women, dark-skinned black women especially, they created colorism. Yeah, they created this whole system to discriminate and oppress themselves. Yeah, it's just all a part of their master plan. Yeah, to have something to complain about. Yeah, but seriously though, um, you know, but these are things to think about though. You know, these are things to think about. You know, I've also heard like one time on like a TV show, like, oh, it was like on a court show. You know, those shows where they go to court and um, uh, one person sues the other person. Sometimes they win, sometimes they lose. But somehow it came up where this like black woman had said something to the extent of like, oh, you can't trust anyone whose skin is that dark, right? Or you know, some people saying like, oh, they don't want dark skinned children, right? Um, what else? It's just really like a lot of. It's like really subtle too. That's the thing. It's like it pops up on occasions. It'll pop up out of nowhere, seemingly. You know, and it does affect both dark-skinned men and dark-skinned women. It does. You know, some people may say differ, but it affects both of them in different ways. But it affects both of them. Um, I think for the men, it's like if you hear these things and these thoughts, you know, and it kind of affects them because a lot of times these men, they kind of say, kind of like to an extent, repeat these same thoughts towards dark skinned women, you know? So it's almost in a way like projecting, you know, projecting insecurities, projecting self hate, projecting um, self esteem issues onto a group of people who unfortunately are probably dealing with more or less those same issues themselves, but are in a position where it's like the way that society is structured, they can't really, they might not be in a position as a group to say, hey, what you're saying is bullshit. No, we ain't like, you know, because society sort of co-signs it, right? Yeah. But in my personal opinion, you know, is there such thing as being too dark? No, I personally don't think so. You know, hey, I think there's a such thing as being ashy and too ashy, you know. But hey, just you know, make sure you got the cocoa butter, the baby oil, the lotion, and you're good, really. that's the only thing like the dark folks need to really worry about. Really, just don't want to be walking around being like ashy. That's the only thing to me that's dark skinned folks really got to worry about. And if by chance you suffer from dry skin, that's all good in the hood. Just get just stop by your local grocery store or whatever and pick you up some baby oil, some lotion, some cocoa butter, you know, moisturize, right? And you're good to go, really. Because that's the thing too, like a nice gloss on like really dark skin, like a nice, that sort of like it's dark, but then you see sort of like um kind of like a reflection, a glisten, like a glisten, like dark skin that's like really moisturized and it glistens, like that's what's up, right? That's you know what's good. And everybody can't, all skin tones can't capture that glisten like that, especially like if you do that on white people, you ain't gonna see nothing. If you do it like on, brown, beige folk, you might get a little something, something. But if you do that on like really dark skinned people, you gonna get like, something that's really like captivating and mesmerizing just off of a glisten, just off of like a little glisten on your skin, a little moisture on your skin. Yeah. That's what it sort of creates like kind of like a really rich quality to the skin, to the skin tone, in my opinion. Um, Also, darker skinned people, especially the dark skinned people, tend to really age well, from what I see. Uh, and of course, having built-in sunblock really helps. Right? um, that is a really good thing, especially when it comes to like you know dealing with the sun. Definitely. But think I'll bring this video to a close for now. But what do you guys think? Do you think that there's some truth in being too dark versus you know being the acceptable dark? Do you think it's all the same? Let me know in the comments section. Until the next video, adios and goodbye for now. And also, one more thing before I go. Hopefully, none of you guys were like offended when I said the whole ashy thing. It's just a joke. Like I said, there's truth in jest, but don't take it to heart. I'm just making some jokes. All right. you know. But I think that, like I said, that is a true thing. But of course, not all dark skinned people have ashy skin. You know. Yeah. Heck, my skin gets ashy. Like in the wintertime, like this. I don't know what you call this. I guess hand. This part of my hand, um, oddly enough, gets like really ashy sometimes. I don't know why. Like the dryness. And oftentimes it's like just this hand. It's not the other hand. Like what's up with that? But yeah. But it's okay. It's all right. You know. That's what's up. You know. You know. Technically, everybody gets ashy. It's just that on some folks you just can't see the ash. It's kind of like how everyone turns red, but on some people you can't really see red because it just is covered up, right? Because or else you have to look like really close to it to see the redness, right? You have to really examine it. But that's all for now. Thanks for watching.